I know, it looks fantastic. I knew you were going to hate when I said that, though. It looks great.
Yeah, I don't hate it. It's just like so unruly.
You look like a woman you wouldn't want to piss off, because I'm pretty sure you could cast some sort of spell on me that would make a man's parts swell.
What a compliment.
You're
That
welcome.
is like
You're
life
welcome.
goals.
Yeah.
and that's what's in the beginning of this recording. And you know what? I don't know what I mean, I think that as long as it wasn't cutting it off weird, you keep it in.
It's up to me.
To the listeners, that was us saying we're not doing video. But apparently I look like I could cast some spells. Hello. This is Let's Talk About
Myths, baby. Oh,
I messed up. I know. I've been watching Schitt's Creek.
Yeah, I was about to say. Okay, Moira.
I don't actually think that's why. I think it's because just your tone threw me off. But in truth, I have been watching Schitt's Creek like really obsessively. So that works Moira really well. Let's talk about myths, baby.
Oh my god.
That's a perfect introduction and beginning to this episode, which is that it is the holidays. Neither of us want to do anything particularly intellectual, but also we both have really loud thoughts and feelings. And so we're now back with this third annual Battle of the Bastards. Except this time, well, as we learned last time, neither of us are really going to defend these people so much. Or at least last year when it was Achilles versus Odysseus. And now this year, well, this year's Clytemnestra versus Helen, which means, let's be perfectly frank, we're going to be so fucking biased. And we're going to defend the women to our dying breaths.
Truly. Like, they were right. Good for her. All around. Good for her.
Good for her. Good for her. Kill your husband? Good for her.
Good for
her.
He
was a shit.
Talk back to a god?
Oh, good for her.
Good for her.
Good for her. Drug your husband and
all his friends,
late teenage boy, so that they don't cry about all their problems all night long, so that you can have a moment's peace. Good for her.
Good for her. Good for her. Axe.
My apartment's very dry right now. It makes me cough, especially if somebody just says axe, apparently. Clytemnestra killed Agamemnon with an axe.
Good for her.
Good for her. No, so today we really just wanted to rant and ramble about Clytemnestra and Helen. And so, what's our kind of plan? We're just going to talk about them and how great they are. I'm doing Helen and you're doing Clytemnestra.
I'm doing Clytemnestra. I think one thing we can also talk about, like to start it off with, is their birth.
Oh my god, because you like swan fucking?
No, because I think the thing that often gets left behind is these are sisters. These are sisters.
They are. I think it's very interesting because it's not mentioned in the Odyssey or the Iliad at all.
No.
Which is very entertaining.
And because, like, correct me if I'm wrong in terms of, like, how the work. They were born from eggs, supposedly.
Well, so there's a lot of different variations. It's because there are always, like, 4 or at least 4 children. And
Helen, Clytemnestra,
Castor, and Polydeuces.
Yeah.
And so and I think there are always at least 2 eggs.
Yeah.
But only Castor and Polydeuces are twins.
Yes.
But it also seems that, like, all 4 children, according to whatever versions we do have, like, all 4 children come from the same, like, I don't know.
The same clutch.
The same clutch! Yeah, but it's also kind of like a litter of cats because there's 2 dads, right?
Yes, yes.
So the whole deal is that, like, this is one of Zeus's more iconically disturbing moments where he transforms into a swan because he wants to fuck a woman because
that's normal behavior and thoughts,
I guess. Yeah, just, like, super cool and chill.
It's a Zeus moment.
And so, like, Zeus and Leda have sex. You can take what you will in terms of consent. I think it's pretty clear. One's a swan. And But then it's supposed to be that like immediately after that, then like she goes and has sex with her husband that night, and so then she ends up pregnant with like all of these children, but like only 2 are twins, but all 4 seem to be born around the same time, and like all 4 seem to be from eggs, but only 2 are the children of Zeus. And also it sometimes no, it's, I guess it's always, I forget if it's Castor or Polyduces, but then it's Helen. But what's funny is that Castor and Polyduces are twins, but one of them is supposed to be like Tyndareus' son, not Zeus's.
And then there's like a whole story about like how they like get the other twin to be
well, they're
godly
both
as well.
Because
the Dioscuri at the end of it all.
Well, they're the Dioscuri from Jump. That's always their name, but they're the Gemini at the end of it all. I mean, they're
very strange.
Well, it's one of those things where I think, and this is getting right into how interesting it is, even though it's not about Helen or Clytemnestra, but I think it's one of those things where like the myth of these famous twins who were related to these famous queens came before the story of their births, and then like these later mythographers are looking at the Iliad and the Odyssey and being like, okay, cool, so like Clytemnestra and Helen are these 2 queen sisters from Sparta, and they have these 2 brothers, because the brothers are mentioned in the Iliad and the Odyssey. We're expected to know that they died like shortly before the war. And so like I think we have all these famous figures, and then somebody later was like, okay, so like how did they become so famous? And like some of them were immortal, so we gotta explain that. And they were like, well, Zeus as a swan, I guess.
Of course.
Eggs, 4 children, only 2 are twins. We got a lot of question marks.
Like I'm always so confused. Like, is it like one egg was a Tyndareus egg and one egg was a Zeus egg?
But like, also then like only, I mean, Tyndareus was a man at the time. Only one was a swan.
Yeah, true. So, like I don't know what's happening. I'm confused, and I'm also very fascinated because when we think about like twins in mythology, do we ever get talks about female twins?
Like both female?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, the only twins I can think of though, but like in defense of the patriarchal mythology, I can only think of 2 sets of twins writ large, and they are Apollo and Artemis, and Castor and Polyduces. Like twins aren't that necessarily that common, unless I'm totally like I could be missing. Well, I guess Remus and Romulus, but then they come in later to be like
that's later.
It's a whole thing.
Yeah, but then I'm thinking of like the dual sense that is used in Greek, because it's like we have first person, or what am I saying? For singular, plural, but Greek also has dual, and we see that a lot with like
plural, but only 2. Like
yes, yeah. So like the Atridae are that's in the dual, and it's because it's the 2
but
brothers.
Isn't it just
Agamemnon and Menelaus? So like the dual.
No, I read that, but doesn't Atridae just mean like sons of Atreus?
It can,
but it's only 2.
But no. The problem is it can mean, okay, maybe I'm getting this wrong, but I'm pretty sure it is also, it's like the plural sons of Atreus, but it's also like because the dual basically uses the same endings as other things.
Got it.
But sometimes it can look a little weird.
We love grammar, and by that I mean that stuff scares me.
So sometimes you'll be reading it and you'll be like, oh, this is the, like sons of Atreus, but then it's like, oh, this is in the dual sense, because you'll see something else attached to it, and it'll be in a different and then the sons of Atreus really are Agamemnon and Menelaus.
There's only 2.
So
there's only 2. Yeah, that's why I was curious about that, because I know I mean, that cursed family, much like the swans and the eggs,
so cursed.
Those 2 lines of families, gosh,
truly, they had to come together.
Art.
But because like, so we don't have much about Clytemnestra from early on.
Sorry, real quick, I have to register this for next year, because next year's Battle of the Bastards,
Agamemnon and Menelaus.
Oh my god, yes, thank you. Okay. We're on the same page. Who do I take? I don't know. I'm taking Agamemnon, actually. Never mind.
Okay, I'll take Menelaus.
And then the year after, we could do Atreus and Thyestes, and no, I'm lying, but we are doing Agamemnon.
The next year I'll choose, and I don't know which one it'll be.
Great. Well, guys, stay tuned for 2026, because I'm taking Agamemnon.
we get to 2027, I'm like, hey, we're doing like fucking history, guys, and you're like, no,
God,
and I'm
no.
like,
Ooh.
I get a say now, bitch. You gave me one.
What is it you said before I got distracted by saying what we're doing next year? Because I
We
love
don't
my
have.
cursed House of Atreus.
Sorry, I'm just writing it down. Battle of the Bastards, Agamemnon versus Menelaus.
We
Hey,
can
it's in
call
the.
it Dune. That's only a vaguely good joke.
It's not a good joke. Why
They
am I
have
laughing?
Atreides. There's a whole thing
I
about
know!
the Atreides.
I haven't read Dune, but I've also heard
I haven't
it's
read it or
actually
seen
worth
it,
I've
but I
never
just
seen
know
it.
they have Atreides in there.
Oh fuck. Anyways, we don't hear much about Clytemnestra early stuff. Like
What do you mean early stuff?
like
Like,
when I think of like Helen, we get like the story of the suitors all coming for her.
oh, you mean like pre-Trojan War stories?
Yeah. Like
yeah.
there is more about Helen.
Mhm.
So
Because she's the fancy one.
yes, well she's the one that is the cause of the war, and
Well, and
Clytemnestra's just there.
I think Clytemnestra is. I don't know if we're meant. Well, I realize I just went on a whole fucking ramble about this whole twins eggs thing.
Yeah.
And again, oh my god, excuse me. Again, that's like we're looking at something that's being like developed later, obviously,
Yes.
right? Like out of the existence of these characters, and then they're trying to explain them away. Because it really does make sense. Because like I think otherwise, presumably Clytemnestra is older. Because when Helen marries Menelaus, we know that Agamemnon is already married to Clytemnestra.
Yeah, and then at that point, that's why he can't.
Yeah.
Woo
yeah.
sweet Helen.
And why it kind of like fits when she goes with Menelaus, because now it's like brothers are with sisters. And so it's just kind of, it's interesting to, because really Clytemnestra is sort of an afterthought. She reminds me of Chrysothemis, who's also, that's exactly right. And you know why? It's because you don't like plays. So
I'm
fuck
sorry.
you, Michaela.
But no, I don't
Chrysothemis,
like reading dialogue.
valid. Chrysothemis is the extra child of Agamemnon and Clytemnestra. In a bunch of versions, they have another kid named Chrysothemis. So there's like Iphigenia, Electra, Orestes, and this poor woman, Chrysothemis, who's like,
but here's the thing.
He is,
Here's the thing. Just quick thought. Maybe Chrysothemis lucked out because they don't have to have any drama. They're out of it. They're like, you know what?
Just, like, sometimes there, sometimes not.
Bye.
But I don't kill my parents. I'm not sacrificed for wind. Just like,
she's like, I'm gonna live over. She, it's the Achilles thing where it's all like, you can live a short life and be remembered forever, or live a long life and not be known at all. And she was like, I'll take option 2.
Option B, absolutely. She's the beta.
And that's why we should
get it, because option B.
Yes, I got that.
Thank you.
Alphabet.
Yeah, alpha beta.
Yeah, the amount of people I've told that to, and they're like, oh my god. I'm like, to be fair, I felt that way when I first figured it out as well. I was just like, I
love that.
It was like when we figured out Mesopotamia, and we were like,
lost my damn mind. Between two rivers.
What?
No, it's Clytemnestra is so interesting because, I mean, if we're, what I am most obsessed with is, surprise, surprise, if you can believe it, it is representation in the Odyssey. And
what?
I know.
For cereals?
Who could believe it? But what's so interesting to me about, like, I mean, Helen and Clytemnestra so specifically, because, like, obviously Helen is so heavily in the Iliad, and she is so interesting in her own, like, unique ways in the Iliad. But then in the Odyssey, she's also, like, not a different person, but, like, a very, like, changed. I don't know. She's a certainly, like, a varied character from what she is in the Iliad.
Yep.
And so we get, like, this really distinct idea that, like, this Helen, who they fought the war over, now she's just back in Sparta. She's happy with Menelaus. She's drugging him and young kids for reasons. No, we actually love her.
Doesn't want to deal with the crying.
She doesn't want them crying. She doesn't want a room full of boys and men crying. And you know what? We respect that.
Like, I get it.
they were happy. They liked the result. It's
But
fine.
also at the same time, we should allow men to cry.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. It's
Maybe
just that we
let me
also
walk away from it, like cry
exactly,
with somebody else.
this is the equivalent. No, it's like Helen's like, I've seen enough crying men. Like she was there for the Trojan War. But the Helen of the Odyssey is like this character who seemingly is like so above everything that happened in the Iliad, and she suddenly has like magic, which we learn that she learned this in Egypt on their way back, and like she learned from like this really powerful kind of medicine woman in Egypt, and suddenly now Helen is like good at this shit. And we get all of this stuff about her, and then simultaneously we get so much about how Clytemnestra is the worst fucking wife on the fucking planet.
Well, I'll jump in here because like all my research for my thesis, I'm actually interacting with the Oresteia story in the Odyssey quite a bit. I'm calling it the parable of Orestes because of sort of how that story functions within the text. And there was some really interesting parts. I believe it is within because Nestor has to tell it to Telemachus twice, because he tells him, like, he gives him the first little blurb that was like literally line for line, like the exact same thing Athena said to him. Like, I went to the Greek, it's the exact same.
The same thing Athena said to Telemachus.
Yeah. She's like, do this, blah, blah. She gives him the little story, and she's like, do this for X reason. And then Nestor, first thing he says, like, do this, blah, blah, do it for X reason. It was the exact same Greek. I looked at whatever. But then he has to tell it to Telemachus a second time, because Telemachus is Telemachus, and he's all like,
he's a whiny little baby.
Yeah, and Nestor's like, sit down, shut up, we're going over this again. But he literally,
no, it's dumb. But you know what I just realized is that Anchovy is a little like Telemachus.
He is, but it's okay. He's got you, and you know.
He's lucky helpful. I put up with his whiny little boy self.
Truly.
Sorry, keep going.
But yeah, so then there's a part where Nestor, I believe, expounds more on the Oresteia story, and he talks about how Clytemnestra resisted for a really long time. She actually was like, no, I'm not doing this. She was like, she was a good woman, but no one was around to protect her. You know, Orestes wasn't there. There was no one like actually who was there to support her. And because of that,
person that was there.
And because of that, Aegisthus was able to get in. And it's, you know, the story, the Oresteia story within it is often used as like a parallel to Telemachus and Odysseus and Penelope, right? So you have like Agamemnon.
Well, and it's repeated constantly for them, which I didn't realize as repetitive until I was writing it for the kids. It's like constantly.
It's
we want the end result of this to not be like Orestes and Agamemnon.
Yeah, and it comes up constantly in the Telemachy. Because like that, the story is, I think,
and to the listeners, the Telemachy is books 1 through 4 of the Odyssey, because it's just all about Telemachus.
Yeah, he's going off on his little adventures to find out what's going on to Daddy, and then I think it shows up one more time in like book 11 or something like that, a little bit later on. But yeah, it's the function of the story is different, but I think it also gives a lot of information, because I also think it exonerates Clytemnestra a little bit, because it paints her as this woman who had a good heart. You know, who was trying to resist, but nobody was there to protect her. None of her family. There was nobody there around her to be there for her, which allows that negative influence to creep in, which then turns her. So it's like, it's a really interesting use of the story, because there's a lot of like actual like this weird amount of sympathy for her in it.
Yeah,
where it recognizes her as like a woman who, I mean, like, I think in that sense, because it's trying to be paralleled with Penelope and Odysseus, it's sort of just like, my husband's gone. But
women need a man there, otherwise they'll just fall victim to murderous plots.
Truly. But I think it's also the you know, if we think of her other stories and the Iphigenia of it all, it's like, this is a woman who is grieving a child, and there is, you know, when you are in grief, you can't be alone in that, because you are vulnerable. And so I think there's almost I'm not quite sure if it's in that Odyssey, but like, I think that could be argued, but there's not a lot of information. But I think it's interesting that she is given a sympathetic view by Nestor, at least. And Nestor is, you know, the smart one. So like, he's lived a life. But seeing her as, you know, painting her as a sympathetic character is interesting, and that it pops up early enough is kind of cool.
Yeah. Well, and what that like that is a good kind of reminder also that in specifically the Odyssey, where she is like harped on about like so much, you know, it is so much about how, even if it's not about Clytemnestra, it's about how Aegisthus killed Agamemnon.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, a lot of it is on Aegisthus in
yeah,
the Odyssey.
yeah, specifically in the Odyssey as compared to the
later
plays.
stories. Yeah, but I think Clytemnestra is like the window in that he uses. Yeah,
but what's interesting in the Odyssey is that Clytemnestra's like reasoning is never mentioned.
Yeah.
Like we don't hear about Iphigenia, like, and how she was sacrificed, you know, for the wind. And so it's like, it's an interesting sort of, I don't know the history behind those ideas and like whether we know that idea existed in the like at the time of the Odyssey, but yeah, it's just kind of interesting to not have like you know, for instance, in my kids' book of the Odyssey, I didn't want to make Clytemnestra into like a cartoonish villain, but I also, you know, didn't want to go beyond the epic because I think it's really important that I'm like I'm not even sticking to the story, like I'm sticking to the epic.
Yeah.
And because I think that's way more interesting to look at, like what it looked like in its original form versus all of the other things that people added on later. And so I was like, okay, well, I kind of have to watch with Clytemnestra. And so I leaned into this idea of her just kind of, you know, being part of it, but not necessarily having the reasoning. And at the same time, like, I just sort of didn't land on like a moral side of that.
And
but
like,
it's just
honestly,
like, yeah, it's interesting. Like you have to kind of pick apart, like, okay, how do I actually feel about her? Because without that reasoning.
I think that's really interesting because the Odyssey does not present her as some sort of like horrible fallen woman who has done this terrible thing, but it presents her as,
well, it does present her as like a pretty shitty wife when only Agamemnon does, like in the underworld.
Oh yeah, well,
in the
I
underworld,
never read that. I think
well, that's because you're too deep in the Telemachy.
Yeah, that's unfortunately it's I'm doing the daddy issues of it all, so I'm not going to that. But well, like putting aside Agamemnon, because I also think we don't get to trust the person who she represented and killed. But like it's interesting when you see the living characters, they present her as a victim almost. They're like, and the story is being used to try to teach something to Telemachus, and that's why I've been calling it the parable of Orestes, because it is like constantly there to be like, Telemachus, pay attention to this thing.
He's a cautionary tale.
He's like literally saying to him, like, look, Orestes wasn't around, look what happened. No one was there to protect you know, Clytemnestra or to support Clytemnestra, and it allowed evil to seep in. Now you have left and there is nobody back at Ithaca to protect your mother, you know, regardless of the dickish things he says to mom. We'll just not talk but fucking dipshit. Anyways,
Telemachus?
it's interesting. Yes, of course he is. He's
fucking
so
terrible.
Horrid.
He's
horrid.
So terrible.
I just love writing about how stupid he is, and how much I think Nestor and, well, that's Menelaus. I think Menelaus is a bit too. Menelaus is emotional.
Has such a hard on for Odysseus. In that scene.
God, it's so funny. And
when
he's so
Telemachus goes to talk to Menelaus and like ask him all of his problems, Menelaus is literally like, "I loved your father more than anything." He goes on and on. He's like, I had this goal that after the war, I would give land in Sparta, and then he would come and he would settle on that land, and then we would raise our families next to each other. And like Menelaus goes on this incredible rant about how much he fucking loved Odysseus. God damn it!
So funny. But yeah, I think it is very interesting that Clytemnestra isn't necessarily portrayed that way early on.
Yeah.
You know? Like, she is there. Absolutely. Sure, Agamemnon talks shit about her, but he's dead because he, you know, thinks it's partly her fault. Despite the fact that she was, you know, who knows of the Iphigenia of it all, but she was definitely grieving and alone. You know, her son was off. There was nobody there to protect her in the Greek sense. Like if we're thinking of like in the Greek sense, the men actually did fail her because there was nobody there to support her or protect her.
That's the thing, not even protect so much as like just general company too, right? Because like women were separated from their families when they married, and then so if they don't have their kids or their husband, like they're literally alone. Like there's
you are the ones, you know, the men are the ones who are supposed to be there for them. So if they're not, they are they like, there is something to say there about that the men literally failed her, because what else was she to do? What else was she to do? That's something I could write about for ages, but I'm not going to right now. Well, maybe later.
It's so interesting too, like, because Clytemnestra is not supremely villainized in the Odyssey.
Until later.
Like, Agamemnon definitely, but otherwise,
I mean later in time, like until we.
I mean in the Odyssey. If we're talking about in the Odyssey, and also though in the Odyssey, like, you know, obviously I was saying Helen is also not villainized in any way, despite them all saying that the war was for her. They're always like, the war was all because of this woman, but then at the same time, when she's on the page, she is like powerful. She talks over her husband. There is a point where like someone asks Menelaus a question and Helen answers, and like there are so many of these really interesting anecdotes of her kind of just generally taking control in this way. And I think it's a good reminder that the Odyssey specifically is so, I don't know, the women represented in the Odyssey are, I think,
powerful.
Absolutely, and some of the most powerful in the surviving mythos. I think the Homeric texts have the most like agency fueled and powerful women in like the surviving mythos generally, which is sad, like the oldest ones. Like the best, that also shows like of women,
shows like what has happened in society. Is
that's what I mean. That's why it's so sad.
You know, But and then even like to go into the Iliad of it all, Helen is. I mean, I know you're the Helen person, but I constantly in love.
I'm less good at her in the Iliad, so
that's so fair. But I am in love with her talking back to Aphrodite, being like, you did this to me. I didn't have a choice. You did this. And like, even though Aphrodite smacks her down afterwards, whatever, that
she
is
talked
still
back
a
to
woman.
A goddess. Yeah.
She talked back straight to a goddess's face and was like, this is on you. This is not me. You have turned me into this. You have made me a victim in this. Like, it's one of the most powerful moments, I think, in the entire text, because it's just this woman who is being blamed for all of what is happening so far, going to the person who did this to her and saying, you took it from me. You took agency from me, and I'm here because of your actions.
I think she also at some point, and again, I wish I knew the Iliad better. That's going to be, well, actually, probably what I'm going to be working on next, you know, wink, wink, / unofficially. But I'm pretty sure Helen also talks back to Paris at some point, and she just like tells him off.
I'm pretty sure she does as well. She's very like, when she talks to Hector, she's very like, I am a dog. I am nothing. But like I do think there's something about this societally that like there's an expectation. And Hector is very like, you'll have moments where he's like, kind of, but then he's also just like, he is so much more for the people. Like that's we love
Hector's
Hector.
A socialist. What a man.
And he loves his people. Like he's so good. Anyways, he, you know, she does that, but like fucking Paris is such a little shit. In the Iliad, he's pathetic. Like anytime he shows up, he's literally just there like, I know I'm a dirty little worm. Can I help? I'll stand on the walls and shoot down. And it's like, you're gross, bud. And he's like, I'm trash. You're right. Like Hector is constantly like, you're a piece of shit. And he's like, correct, bud. And like, so he's an easy victim, I guess.
It's just occurred to me, but like, do you think there's something in the idea that, because Paris is called Paris throughout the Iliad, really? Or, I mean, not entirely, but like, basically his name Paris became more famous.
Yeah.
But like his name is also
Alexander.
Alexandros.
I know.
But Alexander means like protector of
men, but it can also mean like destroyer of men, because
right.
that Alex, it has a sort of like dual meaning where it can be very like shield, but it can also be the thing that
I mean, again,
crushes.
as a legal Alexandra, I
Yes.
love that. I think you've told me that before, and I stand by it every time I am retaught. But no, so yeah, I think it's interesting though that like he gets this kind of like less important name that he
Yeah.
gets this kind of assigned to him as the more common form, and I think it's just a good indicator of kind of his overall importance.
I'm trying to like figure out what Paris means.
I was thinking that too, but I didn't want to ask.
Here's something that's really interesting. Sorry, I'm just on the Wikipedia of it all because
Yeah.
it's me.
Also,
It's
like,
me
yeah,
as
what
you.
letter is the I?
Yoda.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So
Paris.
like it's literally just Paris.
Yeah, it's probably of Luwian origin, so that's a
Oh.
different, yeah.
So
And it's,
Trojan. Yeah.
yeah, well, close to, yeah.
Yeah,
And it's
Hittite Trojan,
comparable
yeah.
to Parasitus, attested as a Hittite scribe name. Other than that, it's not giving me anything. But this is what's really interesting to me. The name is etymologically unrelated to that of France's capital city.
Cool.
Which
I
is
was gonna
derived
ask,
from
yeah.
it's derived from the Gallic Parisi tribe. So that's really fucking cool that these two words are who look just the same.
Why do I
are
feel like
nothing
that's true
related.
of like the Amazons and the Amazon? Like I feel like the Amazon River is
Oh.
etymologically unlinked.
I'll check. I'm sorry. I'm looking. Okay, so Paris, from the Luwian parasitus. Sorry, guys. Nothing to do, but it's interesting. From the pi, so pi is Proto-Indo-European. Pi, meaning foremost, and then whatever this Luwian word is, it's a bunch of, it's Slavic, so I can't read that. But meaning man, so foremost man.
So similar to Alexander. Oh my god. So is Alexander just a translation into Greek?
But this is something
Paris?
Interesting. Compare with the Hittite version. Wait, let me open a new tab. Hittite version, they don't know. By folk etymology, it is connected with pera, meaning bag or pouch.
Okay.
So I don't know what that means.
I feel like it sounds more like it could be a Luwian version of Alexander.
First man. His name is First Man, sort of like Augustus.
Yeah.
First Man. Well, Augustus is more like, is Augustus, what's First Man? No, Augustus is like the most August, the most holy of man. Not a king, not a king.
Not a king.
Not a king.
Not a king. Not a king.
He's just the first guy, the imperator. He's the first man. Not a king.
He rules over everybody with an iron fist, but not a king.
Not a king.
Not a king. He wasn't elected, but not a king.
Anyways, there's Paris. Yeah, Helen in the Odyssey is Helen in the Odyssey and Helen the two different Helens. Yeah. Fascinating. But I also think there's something to say about she's in two different environments, so she can't be two different ways.
But I think that is interesting in itself because like just the fact that women are portrayed as being different in different environments, like again, it reminds me of like why I love Euripides, because it just feels more realistic. It's like, oh, what if women were human just like men?
True, like men are like that too. So it's like,
yeah, exactly. It's like, why do you like? It's just like, oh, if you're going to depict men like that, well, depict women like that too, because again, same species. Yeah, like that's really interesting. But then if you also add in like I don't know, I don't have as many thoughts about like the Eidolon Helen, but the idea of the Eidolon Helen is so interesting because in the Odyssey, like she and Menelaus do spend like an exorbitant amount of time in Egypt, right? They spend like something like 7 years after the war, like bouncing around Egypt.
Yeah.
And that's where she like learns all of her magic and everything. And so this idea of the Eidolon, which obviously is famously from Euripides, is Helen, this ghost Helen that went to Troy, and whereas real Helen was in Egypt. But it's also, I think it's Pherecydes, or it might be not Pherecydes, it might be like Simonides. But there's one of the epic or lyric poets that are like archaic but lost, and otherwise we just have like ideas about them. We know that like Euripides didn't invent this idea.
One of them talked about Helen as an Eidolon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And so like
Yeah.
I'm so curious about that idea and how widespread it was, and like and how like, you know, people listening to this bard singing the Iliad or even the Odyssey, like did they also know about this eidolon idea? And like
Mm.
what if it was, you know, what if it was a common like trope almost
Mhm.
to
Mhm.
imagine that the Iliad Helen is an eidolon and the Odyssey Helen is real Helen. Like
Yeah.
it's just like, oh,
And
I'm
then
just
and
obsessed with
then
that idea. Like,
seeing
could have
her
been
as
thinking about
a
this.
character who is like stop being very like almost pathetic in moments
Yeah,
to
yeah,
sort of garner sympathy.
yeah,
It changes that where it's like this is a sort of like a creative being that is basically being given like survivability, like just
yeah,
survive to the best of your thing,
yeah,
and this is how they're acting
yeah,
versus the Helen we see in the Odyssey who is just like tired
yeah,
and
exactly.
powerful
She's like,
and just
but
like
also I
not
think
dealing with
she's
this shit.
relaxing. Like she's tired, but she's also
Yes.
like home. Like the Helen
Yes.
of the Odyssey is so content in
Yeah.
this way that I find really
Interesting.
satisfying. Like
Yeah.
she is so comfortable, she is content.
Yeah.
She holds the reins in the
Mhm.
marriage. Like the
Mhm.
Helen of the Odyssey is like she knows what is what.
Yep. And can we also
Yeah.
talk about how Menelaus' son? Sorry, this is really off topic. I just remembered it. It's not off topic. It's kind of on topic. Menelaus' son is like mentioned once in the beginning of book 4 and then like
Yeah,
never
it's
again.
like it's literally like what's happening in Sparta? Oh, they're
Yeah.
celebrating because both the prince and the princess of Sparta are getting married. And then it's like they've got a son. He's marrying somebody. And then they've
Yeah.
got a daughter and her name is
Hermione,
Hermione and oh my
she's
god,
so
she's
much like her
marrying
mother,
Neoptolemus.
and she's so amazing.
Oh my
Blah blah blah. Like they don't care about the son at
no.
all, and I find that
I
really
think in my
fascinating.
I feel like in the kids book I might have cut him out completely.
That's fair. Like
Because
everyone
I was
does.
like, I think I had to cut down on words, and I was like,
It's
well,
so
I can't go into the details, so we'll only
no,
mention Hermione, and I wanted to get Hermione in.
yeah, and like there's is there any other mentions of him that we
No,
know of?
it's literally like
Exactly.
that's what's happening here, but then it immediately goes into like, no, the daughter's way more important. But you
Yes.
know what? And I'm trying to, I can't remember exactly where this idea is coming from. It's from a recent
Hmm.
episode I've recorded with somebody
Hmm.
or something I've read. I'm
Hmm.
basically all to say this is not my idea, but like you know there's something to be said for the way that specifically in the Homeric texts it kind of appears like kingdoms are passed down
Yes.
through the women.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. Especially
like
on the mainland. Um,
well but I think the question mark of like maybe including Ithaca too,
yeah, it's a hard one because like
but
Penelope
yeah,
is related to Helen and
yeah,
Clytemnestra.
she's
She's
their
their
cousin.
cousin. Yeah,
Yeah,
so like there's that's cool. But like that Sparta at least, the kingship of Sparta goes through
yeah,
Helen,
goes through Helen. Yeah,
because it was her
yeah,
father was there
which
and
is then the implication would be that it could go through Hermione as well, and
yeah.
that's why we're so much more
Yeah,
interested in
interesting.
Hermione. But then what's also interesting is that like there's no suggestion that the kingdom of Mycenae would go to
Yeah.
Electra. But then at the same time, actually, now that I say that, Electra is not referenced in the Iliad or the Odyssey. We
No.
only know about Orestes, so we also there might not be a daughter.
Yeah. Yeah. This because like Iphigenia isn't mentioned either, so it's
No, yeah,
yeah.
or Chrysothemis.
Well, is Iphigenia mentioned in the Iliad? I'm asking you this as if because I should be the one who
I
knows, but I can't recall.
don't think so.
Yeah,
I don't
I'd
think
have to
so.
look it up, but I can't recall. Um, I feel like we've talked so much about the Odyssey and so the Homeric texts, and I
Yeah.
think maybe we should bounce to the plays.
Yeah.
Which I know you know much more about
Well,
than
I
I do.
eidoloned a little bit,
Yes,
so
because the plays also, I think, what I find is this is like an issue I came up with my thesis writing. Is when talking about sort of like fatherly stuff and father issues, daddy issues. It's daddy issues, daddy problems. I'm writing about that. Is the thing with the plays, and Liv, you've talked about this. Is taking the plays and the Homeric text side by side
mm,
is a bit difficult because it's a little anachronistic
yeah.
because these were written like basically 200
Like
years apart, 150
minimum. No,
yeah.
no. Like we're talking more like 300 years
Well, because
apart.
it's like what 5 oh yeah, I don't know how to do math, that's why I study
No.
history.
Yeah. I don't know how to do math, but I can tell you that
math,
we're
man.
we're in the hundreds, multiple hundreds.
He has 2 graduate degrees in math. We'll make him do it.
Perfect.
I'll text him. He's
I have
on
a graduate
plane.
degree in publishing, and by degree I mean certificate.
Who goes to 2? I hope he doesn't. Oh my god, wait, one of his friends listens. Hi!
Hi.
Anyways, yeah, many years apart, so you can't really take them next to each other as evidence because things have changed. It's like,
well, and not to mention that they are plays, they're movie versions of something, right? Like, I think that's the easiest thing to forget is
fan
that
fiction.
they're the movie adaptation.
Romeo and Juliet versus
Baz Luhrmann's.
Thank you, Romeo and Juliet. Which is better?
They're just different. It's okay.
I don't know.
Why?
What is that part where he's talking about? He pulls out his saber and it's just a gun.
I think it's like a sword brand.
Yes.
Yeah. No. Guys, if you're young and you don't know what Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet
you
is,
need to go watch it.
Go right ahead and watch it.
Flawless. Flawless. Art. So good. Oh, I might watch it again this weekend. But yeah, so it's that. There's a lot of changes and adjustments and adaptations. And that's not to say that these ideas didn't exist within the cultural understanding. But it's, you know, like the idea that Clytemnestra was the one who actually killed her husband with an axe in the bathtub. That's a later that appears for us in later sources. That's not to say that bits of that didn't exist throughout.
And is this years. My regular reminder to everyone that the idea, the rolling out the red carpet, does come from Aeschylus's Agamemnon, and Agamemnon returning home to Mycenae after the war, and they roll out the red carpet, and then he gets fucking murdered.
Woo!
No one can see of the term.
I was dancing
the
entire time
to my red carpet facts. Yeah, no, it's, I mean, Clytemnestra being part of it, and the fact that it's in the bath, like, I just think the plays are so interesting because they add so much.
Yes.
Like, they are a movie version, right? They add so much visual representation. They add so much, like, they just add, like, a different layer. It's just a different way of looking at these stories. And so, yeah, the idea of Clytemnestra being, you know, instrumental, like, honestly, even in my Odyssey, I felt very strongly about sticking to the Odyssey itself and not everything else. But then at the same time, I was like, I don't want to take that away from her completely. So I just made it ambiguous. I was just like, it's both of them. They're both involved. Yeah. Even like we've depicted it, and they're like the silhouettes are both like holding this axe behind the Agamemnon, and so, you know, it's like, because I think that those later versions are, like you said, like, they're not necessarily like, they're a different thing, but they just add something else, and they also often like add extra information that we wouldn't otherwise get, maybe, and so we can kind of use it as you know, inspiration for theorizing or whatever. But yeah.
And this, like, I was reading a whole book. Oh my gosh, I love that. The author's name is, nope, I don't remember. Sorry. This is going to be great for my thesis writing. But she talks about storyscapes in the epic. So she has one entire volume on storyscapes in the Iliad and one in the Odyssey. And she has this interesting chapter about the Oresteia story in the Odyssey, and she actually uses the later plays, and she's trying to like draw connections between the two. I don't 100% agree with her conclusions. I find a little bit anachronistic and leaps are taken, but I think it's interesting. But at least what she is trying to argue is that this later story from Aeschylus is there is a idea that it was existing throughout time, which I do think is true. I just don't know if the way she presented it is the way I would describe it. And I find that really interesting because that story where, you know, I mean, and because we get into the Iphigenia stories with Euripides, right? With Clytemnestra literally getting her daughter ready for a wedding, and then she has to take her daughter, like, she thinks she is bringing her daughter to get married.
To marry Achilles, no less.
And then watches her daughter get killed right in front of her. So, like, we get that story, and Euripides is writing after Aeschylus, but, like, that probably exists. If the Iphigenia story has existed for a long time, which I think it is fair to say that it had at that point, the understanding that her getting ready for a marriage, her mother would be there. That was absolutely would be true. So there is this understanding that yes, Clytemnestra had to experience this. And to think that there would be an expectation for a mother to be okay with that or chill with it or like have no feelings about it, I think that is unfair to ancient peoples.
Yeah.
I think that is the idea that there was an expectation that women shouldn't care is fucked up and is inaccurate. And like, were there maybe some men who felt that way? Yes, absolutely. But I don't think the wider public would have been like, no, she shouldn't have feelings about this. She just should accept it.
Yeah.
I think especially given, half the population is women, I think they're going to be like,
Yeah.
no, I can
Well,
understand that.
we have a habit of like just dehumanizing ancient people too, and like
Yes. Oh my
separating them
God.
from our
Yeah.
ideas. And it's like
Yeah.
like this idea of like
Had more
because children
babies.
regularly died in
Yeah.
infancy, that it somehow wasn't traumatic. And it's like, but why? Like,
But
why would
they spent 9
volume
months.
make
Like,
yeah, like why would that make it less traumatic?
it's not
Like,
less. It's still traumatic.
yeah, like
each and
car
every
crashes
time.
are common. They're still just as traumatic to the individual experiencing them. Like,
Yeah, it's it's wild.
yeah.
But yeah, so and then sort of seeing this other story of her taking power into her own hands in whatever way it is, whether getting a geese to do the deed or she herself does the deed. I
Mhm.
think there is something in that where I do think and this is maybe me, maybe it's a bit anachronistic, but I don't know, because I think of how people are people. And I think there are some people who could go back and they'd be like, it's the good for her trope that we have now in
Yeah.
movies, where you look at it and you're going, oh, I mean, I know that's wrong, but I get it.
Yeah.
It's like, would that be how? I mean, I don't know how I'd respond
Yeah.
because I'm not in that scenario. There's a little part of me that's like, I don't want to, I'm not going to say that like maybe all women were like, yeah, that's exactly what I would do. But
But some might have. Like,
some might have.
it's almost like also everyone is human, and like people have different reactions to
Yeah.
things. And
Yeah.
like that's why it's so interesting, is because it's like this representation of just like the overall like universal complexities of humanity over millennia.
Yeah. And I think that's sort of why I love Clytemnestra's story so much, is how much agency she has, even if it's bad. Like,
Yeah.
this is why I think also generally people, especially women, love stories of bad women, because what we classify as bad women is just women taking power into their hands. And maybe they're doing something bad, but who gives it's them finally taking control.
Something.
Yeah.
Is why I love Euripides' Medea. Like,
Yes.
yeah, she does terrible things, but she's a woman doing stuff in the ancient world, and so I love it for her.
I'm not saying, that killing your children is
We
right or
don't
wrong.
condone husband murder like
No.
Clytemnestra did, but we
But
love that a woman got to do what she wanted to do in the
and-
ancient world.
and it wasn't just like
She
there
wanted
was
to kill her
motive.
shitty husband. Yeah, exactly.
There was motive.
Fine.
It's not like she was just like, ha ha ha, I'm gonna go kill people for funsies. It was like, this fucker made me think my daughter was getting married to the foremost man in Greece. He made me get her ready. He made me walk her to where I thought she was gonna get married, and he made me watch her be sacrificed so they could have some fucking wind.
Yeah.
And I am now left alone to stew for 10 years and plot and plan. And this is what I do. I will make him comfortable when he gets home. I'm going to do the same thing to him.
Red carpet.
And she does the same thing. She makes
Yeah.
him comfortable. She makes him happy. And right in that moment of relaxation and feeling like things are fine, boom, axe to the head. She treats him the same. And like,
Yeah.
you can think about the symbolism of using an axe to the head. She does the exact same thing he's doing. He sacrificed his daughter. How do they sacrifice animals? Axe to the fucking head. She's sacrificing him as well.
Yeah.
And I love that. Like, it's a
Hell
good
yeah.
for her moment.
Yeah.
It's a good for her. I get it. Is it bad? Is she gonna be punished for it? I mean, yes. Just like every other good for her film we have nowadays, it's like she's gonna get her just like she's, life is gonna come for her. But at the end of the day, also good for her. I'm fine.
There's
with it.
a reason why there was more women killing their husbands when divorce was illegal.
Yeah.
And if we need to go back there, we will.
Yeah.
If the men force us back there, they can look forward to a lot more murders.
Truly. Just like it's she's a powerful character, I think.
Yeah.
And I really love her for that. I think that's why I'm obsessed with her, and I'm gonna get it. I'm putting her on my sleeve when I eventually do it.
Hell yeah.
Because I just think she is so beautiful in the way that it, she's doing a bad thing, but she's doing it for herself and for vengeance, and knowing that she's not going to survive it, but she's still like, no, this is what has to happen. And I kind of love that as a story. Yeah.
I mean, Helen and Clytemnestra.
Yeah.
They're just both magnificent. I don't have anything
Truly.
quite so like poetic to wrap up my Helen, because quite frankly, all I can think about is the fact that I have leftover Palestinian pizza in my fridge, and I want to eat it really bad. And I need everyone, just because I thought of this in this moment, if you're a listener from Toronto, you need to be going to Levant, not pizza, because it's like Palestinian, Sicilian pizza / not pizza / oh my god, it's so good. Anyway, that's in my fridge right now. and now I wish to eat it. And Helen, I think, would approve, because she spent a lot of time in Egypt and probably Canaan, which is ancient Palestine. So
they don't have gluten-free bread, do they?
Not at Levant. No.
Well, you know what? Next time I'm there, I'll just suffer one night. How about that? I'm sure it'll be worth it.
Hear that, everyone? That's how good it is.
The celiac chooses to suffer.
Damn right. No, this has been very fun. I just love these women so much. They're two characters where, like, as soon as you recommended them, I was like, yeah, of course. Like, I could talk about them forever without, batting an eye. And so, yeah, I mean, this has been so much fun. Let's use this as another prime example to, like, please send in your questions for the Q&A. We're probably going to be doing them, like, pretty close after this episode drops. So, like, if you hear this, do it right away. Please go to mythsbaby.com/questions. You can send them in via text and just type it all out, or you can send us a voice note, which are fun and new. And also, I paid for an annual subscription, so, like,
please
help me make that worthwhile. Would you? But otherwise, this has been a goddamn delight.
This has
Michaela.
been fun. I was a little what's me? I was a little worried, but then I was like, why am I worried? It's because
I like these ladies. And it's the end of the year. We're recording this on December 19th. I have already reached a point where I'm like, aside from anything absolutely necessary I have to do, I'm barely going to use my brain for the next week.
I'm going to try to do that. I just have to finish writing a commentary on Tiberius's death.
Sure. Well, I'm going to leave that to you, because I don't give a shit about Rome.
Latin too, sorry.
What?
It's in Latin as well. It's for my Latin class. Hey, this is for anyone else. If anyone wants to join Patreon, I'll put a blurb at the end as well, because that's what I'm doing now. But just so you all know, turns out there's a Latin version of The Hobbit, Hobbitus Ille, which I actually have thoughts about the title as well, but whatever. But I'm gonna think of something to do for the Patreon with Hobbitus Ille. If anyone is interested in language learning with The Hobbit, might be fun.
Dorky, and I love that for you and everyone else. So everyone check that out too. Patreon.com/mythsbaby. There's all the links to all of these things in the episode's description.
My son.
And Michaela's got her cat. She's talking to her cat off mic. And my cats are probably off being annoying somewhere and adorable. One of them is annoying. The other one's never annoying. She's a perfect angel. Just happens to live with a gremlin. It's very rude.
Marsha feels the same way, man.
I mean,
she's such a sweetheart. She's such a regal little
Marsha
queen.
And Squid, they are both long suffering.
Yeah, against
they have to put up with the men.
Anchovy and Crow. Hi, my boy. He's ignoring me. Great.
And on that note, honestly, thank you all so damn much for listening. Happy fucking holidays, I guess.
Happy holidays. Happy
I don't know.
New Year.
Yeah.
Punch your local Nazi.
That's so true. And fascists.
Punch your local fascists.
And Doug Ford.
And
punch your local Doug Ford.
Punch your local Doug. Every city has its own Doug Ford. Merry ho-ho-hos, Merry Crisis.
I'm Liv, and I love this shit.
I'm Michaela, and I'm here too, y'all. Let's Talk About Myths, Baby is written and produced by Liv Albert, who is relaxing because it's ho-ho-ho time. Who knows? Anyways, Michaela Pangowish is the Hermes to all your Olympians. The producer, exhausted, done with school for now. Give me time. Select music by Luke Chaos. Thank you, Mr. Chaos. The podcast is part of the Memory Collective Podcast Network, a collection of creators that all strive to bring you accurate and reliable information on the ancient world. These include the wonderful friends at Movies We Dig, The Partial Historian, Sweet Bitter, and so much more. Get ad-free episodes and more by subscription to the Oracle Edition on Patreon at patreon.com/mythsbaby or via the link in the episode's description. We do lots of fun stuff over at Patreon. Come on over, find out, join chats. We'd love to hear from you. Did you know that you can comment on Spotify and other places? We absolutely would adore to hear from you all. So please tell us what's going on. I don't know. Tell us your favorite ho-ho-ho memory. I don't know. Anyways, that's all for this week. Happy holidays and to whatever wintry celebrations you celebrate or don't. Just enjoy yourself. Goodbye.